questions about Katrina because today is the anniversary of Katrina.
My name is Jared.
My name is Ciara.
I'm from New Orleans.
I'm from New Orleans as well.
From Uptown, that part of New Orleans.
Well, I'm from downtown, Seven Ward.
During Katrina, I was standing on Polgar Street in the 7th Ward. I was in high school, staying with my mom and my grandmother.
I was staying on Joliet Street with my mom during Katrina, and I was at McDonald 35 High School. That was my senior year, and Katrina happened a couple of months after I graduated and started college.
I evacuated. I didn't know Ciara at the time. I evacuated my grandfather and my uncle. We went to Monroe, Louisiana, and we was out there in the country. My mom, she had to stay here because she worked for the police department. We didn't get in touch with her for like a few days. I stayed in D.C. for a little while after. So I used to come back and visit, but I ain't moved back to after I graduated high school. I'm here now, doing my art thing.
Well, I evacuated for Katrina with my mom and I don't remember who else. But when I evacuated, we went to Atlanta and stayed by a cousin's house for a while, and then we went to Texas, and I went to Texas Southern University for a semester. And after that semester, I came back home because they were rebuilding. I stayed in a hotel for a while. I was pregnant with Vincent, who's now 9. And I stayed in a hotel. I stayed in a FEMA trailer. And came back down here and went back to school.
All right, yeah, we moved back. Ended up meeting this nice young lady, beautiful woman. Once we moved back, well, it was a good thing though, Well, we kind of knew each other and shit. She was jacking.
I was not jacking him. He was the little Jared to me. But I love him now, and we will be together forever. To death do us part. Thanks, Katrina.
What New Orleans mean to me? That's kind of hard. A lot. It mean a lot to me. A lot. New Orleans in 3 words: food, fun, and drinks.
New Orleans in 3 words: culture, fun, and drinks.
The second line of Indians. On to the second line tomorrow. Oh, see y'all later. Bye-bye. Y'all better watch this bitch.
YouTube. I'm finally making it on one of these videos. I didn't know when it would happen, but I was asked to answer a few questions since the anniversary of Katrina is coming up. And the first one is my name. My name is Deshawn. I am Mr. Enterprise and Mrs. Enterprise sister. I don't use the word sister-in-law. Where were you living during Katrina? I was in New Orleans, not too far from the University of New Orleans, which is the 7th Ward, hard head for life. I had just moved back in with my parents temporarily. Didn't know it was going to be that temporary. And let's see, did I evacuate? I did. I didn't want to. Actually, I waited up until I was pretty much demanded to leave by a cousin. And I said, well, I guess we'll just have a little mini vacation, and I'll go to gas station to fuel up just in case I had to leave. And all I remember is that my kids had just started school. My daughter was 5, and she hadn't even started her first day of kindergarten. I just dropped off her supplies. And my son, I can't remember, he must have been 9. Well, we ended up leaving with my cousins following behind them. I have never driven that long in my life. We went to Houston, Texas. And I ended up staying there, which I think is one of my next questions. How long did I stay? I stayed there for 3 years. I loved it. Ended up having a Katrina baby. That's our lingo for anybody that had kids after Katrina. Yes, I ended up having a Katrina baby. Love her to death. You guys have to meet her. I ended up coming home because I did get homesick, and I am a mama and daddy's girl. So I came back home to live closer to my parents. Now I'm thinking about moving back to Houston. Psych. Let's see. How long did it take for you to rebuild or move back? Well, let's just say it didn't take long for me to accumulate a lot of the stuff that I lost. And I'm kind of almost hoping that a storm will hit again. No, I'm just joking. But I have so much stuff that I've gotten back. And my parents' home actually had 14 feet of water. And we lost everything. When I say everything, everything. Like even my first bicycle and one of my first dresses from when I was little. Dresses, is that a word? Yeah, okay. Describe what New Orleans means to you. In 3 words. Family, of course, that's why I'm back. Food, can't say that's exactly why I'm back. I have to cheat and say Mardi Gras, but partying. I mean, in Texas, like I went nowhere. Like to get out was to go to Walmart. But I just want to say that Katrina was definitely an experience. Left to go stay in a hotel, thinking I was staying overnight with maybe $400 that I left with, and learned that I was never coming back for a good while because everything was gone. And I did panic because Mr. Enterprise and Mrs. Enterprise were in a hotel, and I cried because I thought they wasn't gonna make it home. But I'm a big girl now. We're all better. We're all back together. Well, I think I've taken up all you guys' time. Peace.
Hi, my name is Paige, and I'm a part of the Enterprise family. It says, where are you living during Katrina? I was living in Gentilly, really, at the time. At the time of Katrina, I was 2 years old, 2.5 years old, really. And when me and my family evacuated, we went to a hotel. And I know y'all think that I was young and I don't really remember all this stuff, but I have pictures. So, and I've been told this a bunch of times. So I just know what I'm told. So that's where I get all this information. When we were on the balcony, like, we saw, like, buildings getting burned, like, stuff like that, like, really crazy stuff, and it was chaotic. That's, yeah. It took, like, a while, because eventually, after the storm, we moved to Los Angeles, California, and we stayed there for a while, and then we went back to New Orleans in 2007. So that's when we came back. Yeah, and then of course now since we moved back to New Orleans, we moved to a new house and we got like new stuff because like the storm like destroyed a lot of things and a lot of people lost their belongings and it was like kind of sad because like a lot of that stuff was for like graduation diplomas, pictures, knickknacks, stuff that people like actually cared about, and that was really devastating. And a lot of people like didn't have any food, and like when some people stayed here, like when it was happening, a lot of people like died and drowned, and I heard from my teacher that the stench was horrible in the Superdome, and So it was really crazy. That's why Katrina is very important to New Orleans, because it helped the city grow and made people realize how important it is to them, because that's their home. And they don't want it to, like, nothing happen to their home. So, yeah, describe what New Orleans means to you in 3 words. Just, like, New Orleans is fun. I like the festivals that we have here and the hospitality, you know, like that. I'm just gonna name one more. And, like, the food, of course, that are at the festivals, and, like, it's just a lot of stuff about New Orleans that's really cool. And a shout out to all the people who helped New Orleans when we didn't have any electricity or food, and all the food that they sent to us. And yeah, even though I wasn't there when, like, or I don't remember, I still care, I guess, because I still lived here and stuff like that. So just shout out to all the soldiers and stuff who came out and, you know, took, you know, the time to give everybody food and water. And yeah, that's all I want to say. And just, yeah, just because this video is very important to everybody, and today's anniversary, and it's just very important to us. So will you please like, share, and comment on this photo, on this video, because yeah, it's very important and people should know about this. Stay blessed.
My name is Randy, aka DJ Ram Jones. 2, where were you living during Katrina? Oh, I was in Gentilly, living in my little fourplex. You heard me, like, just chilling, top deck, stuff like that. Did I evacuate? Yeah, I evacuated. Man, you know, my party was the last birthday party of the year before that storm happened, that Dreams. Beautiful night we had. But my mama called me the next morning and said, son, we gotta get the fuck out of there. So we got out of there. How long did it take me to rebuild? Well, they took my fourplex down, but it took my mom about 6 months after the trailer to get her house back up and running. Describe New Orleans to you in 3 words or less. Goddamn hell. Cut.
My name is Ron Julian. I was born on August 22nd, 2005. If you do the math, I was born a week before Katrina. My parents, they didn't leave. Once Katrina hit, we stayed for a few days. Then we left to go to California. After a few months, we came back, got a new house, and we got a new dog, and our cousins also moved back. 3 words of New Orleans that I could describe right now is a good place to live. It's awesome, and they have great food. They have red beans, gumbo, seafood, which is shrimp, crabs, crawfish, and potatoes, I think. And oysters.
I went to church, came home, I wasn't even going nowhere. Mother-in-law was like, take us out of town. I'm like, boy, if I wouldn't have left, I was standing by the racetrack. I was under. When I called the people, they was like, yeah, we see it on the radio, you underwater. Yeah. I left that Sunday, hit that Monday. I think we stayed in like 4 different hotels. We went to Bourbon Orleans one night, a couple of days. We got to Astro a couple of days. We got different hotels. But I tell you that, I went to work for FEMA. Life was looking good.
Yeah.
During Hurricane Katrina 10 years ago, my husband and I were living on Reed Boulevard, about 2 blocks away from Lake Pontchartrain. We then evacuated to Houston. We got to Houston right as the storm touched Buras, Louisiana, and from there we evacuated on further to San Diego, California, where my family is. It took us 6 weeks, and then we came back to New Orleans, where we lived in the Pontchartrain Hotel where my husband was working down on St. Charles. We lived there for 17 months with our 13-month-old son, Trino, and we had a newborn baby 4 months later in January. When I think of New Orleans, I think of it as home sweet home. I transplanted here when I was 21 years old, and I can't imagine living any place else in the world. I love it here, and I'll never leave. Bye, Shaleska. Good luck with everything.
Hey, Enterprisers. I just wanted to come to you today to explain to you our story. This year marks the 10th year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. And basically, I'll start with the beginning. August 22nd, 2005, LaRon was born through C-section. It was a scheduled one because when I had Paige 2.5 years earlier, it was an emergency C-section. So they recommended that I just go and schedule it, make it a lot easier. Because of the C-section and the fact that LaRon was born with jaundice, they kept us in the hospital like a couple of days more than if I had him naturally. We were discharged on that Friday. Spent Friday night at home, and Rome basically woke me up that Saturday morning and was like, I think we need to figure out what we're going to be doing, because the news had some information about the storm not going to Miami like we thought and was coming toward us.
You know, it was just a mandatory evacuation, so we decided to take refuge at a hotel where her mom worked. Her mom was like, "Y'all come down here," because it was pointless to travel with her in her condition, being that she just had surgery, in a car for 6 hours to go to Houston or whatever, or 12 hours for that matter, to go anywhere. And so we went to the hotel, which was located on Bourbon and Canal Street, which is like right in the heart of downtown New Orleans. So that's where we took refuge. It was on the 5th floor of that building. We felt safe and comfortable. We all had a room. It was a bunch of us in the room. We hunkered down until the storm blew over. And then, you know, that wasn't so bad. It was the aftermath of, you know, I guess when the levees broke, because we didn't know. We had no idea what was going on, because...
well, eventually the power went out. We had power until that morning, and then we were able to keep updates get updates from the news.
And the radio, we had like a little AM FM radio going, and that was about it.
Right, but what you know, we didn't realize was that, okay, we knew that the generators from the hotel would come on. We've been in situations numerous times where we've been in a city without power, but we always had water. But for some reason, this time the electricity and the water went out. And when I can't even explain to you how hot it was. Like, it was so bad that, you know, when you're in a hotel room, most of the windows are sealed shut just a guy from maintenance that was in the hotel. He went around and prying them open so that you could get fresh air. But it wasn't just because we were in the hotel that it was hot. It was just because it was August, and here in New Orleans is just
It was hotter during the night than during the day.
Yes. You would think it would be the opposite, but at night I literally fanned in my sleep. I fanned my kids. My grandmother was in the room with us. My mom and my dad, who are separated. The kids and I, the dog, and Rome. So we all just kind of like.
We kind of did security at night. The men of the whole that stand in the hotel, we all did security to make sure nobody was trying to get into our hotel, and make sure that if anybody left, that they wouldn't trying to bring people in, or we just could not accept it. We were at full capacity and could not accept any more people into the hotel, really, because we could barely fend for ourselves. So.
Right. And the hotel did give us 3 meals a day as best they could. It was in an orderly fashion. But then once the hotel's food ran out, they did have to go to other sources to make sure that everybody got fed. They had employees that work for the hotel and volunteers come in and kind of like keep everything in order. They also had, like I said, the water was off. They actually gave just about everybody buckets to fill up from the pool to use so that the sewer wouldn't get backed up. So you use the pool water to basically flush the toilets in the rooms. I'm not gonna say that it was a horrible experience, but it's something that you wouldn't want to go through. But it wasn't as bad as being, other places. I'm gonna just say that. We were grateful to be in a safe environment where we weren't harmed and we were able to have shelter and food. So kind of fast forward during some of that time, I'm gonna just say that I was glad I chose to breastfeed, because where you gonna find formula downtown during a hurricane? A police officer actually was able to let Rome get like more diapers and pull-ups, because even though Paige was 2.5, it was still hard to keep on that potty train schedule.
So I looted. It wasn't.
Yeah,
it
but it was for a good
looting.
cause, and a police officer understood.
No, the police officer recommended you
get what you needed, not
needed to survive. So we didn't know what was gonna happen
foolishness.
At that point,
Right. We didn't know how long
medications
we were gonna stay.
or whatever, like
right.
Over the counter medicines or like diapers and batteries or
right, things like that
can help your situation. I mean, he just. I ain't gonna say what store that was from, but that was, and
right.
it actually helped. And I was glad because we weren't prepared for anything. There was no way to do anything.
So 5 days after being here,
6.
5 days is when the owner of the hotel sent buses to pick us up. Okay, of course the owners of the hotel, they're probably, I don't know, they don't live in Louisiana itself, so they sent buses to pick up the guest, and you had to get in 2 lines. It was like a general line, like general admission line, I guess you could say, and then it was like a health and safety type of line. Well, the general manager of the hotel, of course, knew my mom because she was an employee, and recommended that I get into the health. I don't know what is it, emergency
like
help.
Senior citizens.
Yeah,
like
type all that kind.
Aid,
Yeah,
medical,
first
med attention or whatever.
Right.
You mean, like the person that was more medically. I'll never forget there was a 300 and like a 400-pound guy that was upstairs by himself. Like he was in one of the hotel rooms, and he couldn't even take care of himself. He was just full of all kind of like feces and defecation, and and then no one wanted to go and help him get out of the hotel, but he was part of that first aid. They made sure he got out, and that guy went to another city and met with his family. Hopefully he's safe. But
But okay, so we're in the line, and basically because there was water where you had to walk, where you walked through to get to that line, because you basically had to walk outside, walk around a corner. And one day I'm gonna try to take some footage of that journey. Well, because I could not walk that far comfortably, a guy actually put me on a forklift, and I rode through the water on a forklift to get into that line, and then they gave me a chair to sit in. And let me tell you something. I know you guys are like, why couldn't you walk? You know, I had a C-section. This time, for some reason, with Paige, it wasn't that bad of a healing process, but this time it was awful. I don't know. I don't want to go into the graphics, but it just was not doing the right thing, and it wasn't really anywhere where I could get it, fixed, if you want to say. So they brought me to that line, and it must have been around maybe like 4 or 5 o'clock. We got into this line, and we sat until it got so dark that you could barely see your hand in front of you. During this time, no cell phones was working. Maybe a handful of Verizon people could get through, but you always had to call somebody that did not have a 504 number. So it was very dark outside once it did get dark. And we sat and waited for those buses. Eventually, some kind of personnel person came and said that the buses had been rerouted to somewhere else. We were told that they went to the Superdome, but we're not sure. And that, we had to go back to the hotel. Rome had to leave the dog because dogs were not allowed on the bus. So, basically, it was kind of like a blessing that we were able to kind of go back, just because we didn't have to leave Noonie. So
I wish you could have left.
Right, he's bothering us while we're videoing. So then from there we went back to the room. We stayed one night, and then we got on a bus the next day. By this time, we were just to the point where it was just unbearable. We didn't even know where we were going, but we were getting on the bus. And we had been in the heat so long. Do you remember? Like, it was so cold on the bus. Like, the people felt like they were we couldn't even stand being on the bus. Like, everybody was just like wrapped up, huddled up, because we had been in that heat so long that the bus was just unbearable almost, but you wasn't getting off. You know what I mean? But it was just hard to take that ride. And we ended up in Houston, and from there we got a hotel. His sister helped us out with that because she had already evacuated there. His mom and dad were still here in New Orleans because his dad works for a hospital, and when you work for the hospital, they they ask you to come in and volunteer. So his mom actually volunteered at the hospital while his dad worked, and they never left. They never evacuated anywhere else. While we were in Houston, Continental, shout out to Continental Airlines, were giving one-way flights as long as you had your New Orleans, Louisiana license that showed, where you were from. And we flew to LA because of the job that Rome has, and being in the union, they said it would be good for us to come there. They would set us up with some things, and we got a lot of help, don't get me wrong, but and we're grateful for the things that we were given, and the opportunities Rome had, especially in his profession. But there's a lot of things that still need work. I mean, I'm gonna show you some pictures, but the house right next door to us is not complete. Like, it's not that it's renovated and no one's living in it. Like, it is just like it is when Katrina hit, except for a little few things they may have changed over the years. but it is still completely empty, completely gutted inside. And we moved back in 2007, right? So, this is home for us, and I just wanted to share our story. I know there's some things that we probably didn't say or didn't reveal, but trust me, it was something that we will probably think twice about again, as far as staying. But at the time, it made sense for us because I just don't see us being able to drive that long and not being in a world of trouble, a world of pain. Yeah, I mean, and just having a 2.5, a dog, a newborn, like, it just didn't seem like it was gonna work. So, I just want to thank you guys for listening to our story.
Shal actually wrote a book about the whole ordeal, and it's more in depth and more, you know what I mean? Like, really,
the details,
really dirty, down, gritty, worded perfectly on. It brings you into that moment. And she finished the book. She just never got it published. No. Y'all gotta help her get it published.
Yeah.
Get it finished so y'all can read the whole story, the whole.
Yeah. I did because I wanted to write it down when it was fresh on my mind. So I wrote it probably a few months after we evacuated to LA. And shout out to everybody that helped us in LA, especially our friend El Fajiri. She really helped us.
Godmother.
Yes, like she got us things, guys, and bought things and didn't know us from like can of paint. Like, you have no idea how people came and helped and didn't even know us, didn't know anything about us except the fact that we were from New Orleans and our house was under just by the way, our house that we were living in was not this one, but it had 5.5 feet of water based off the water line. So technically it probably was higher, but when the water settles, it made a watermark on the picture window, and it was 5.5 feet, and that's my height. So think about that. And I'm gonna post some pictures. I have some information from some of my friends and about their experiences. And I'll see you guys next time. Rome. Maybe we could get Rome in a few more videos, like where he's really like take over with the camera. Maybe a Rome takeover.
Maybe.
We'll see. Okay, guys, comment down below. Let me know if you want to hear more information about our story. Like and
help
subscribe.
her write the book. Help her get the book published.
Yeah.
Any publishers out there that want to publish Katrina's storybook is a good one. Yeah. And not just because it's about our family, but it just goes to show you how fast things change from one moment to the next, and then you end up in places you never thought you'd be, and doing things you never thought, meeting people you never think you'd meet, and so it's a good book. I think you did a good job. So y'all want to hear it, y'all should read it. Y'all should help her get it published. This is Kaiser, by the way. Say hi, Kaiser.
He is the third baby. Okay.
Yeah,
so, like I said, just make sure you comment below, subscribe, and share. Okay, share the video, and you never know. Maybe we can get that book published. Peace.